Back when I was a kid down in Georgia, there was a boy that lived up the street named Scott. And Scott came to mind a while ago because it turns out he's an insurance agent down where I used to live, and I've been talking to him about some business that we've been working on. But a story came back to me as I remembered while I was talking to him, and it goes something like this. When I was in high school, I had a 1951 Ford pickup truck. It was maroon red, had chrome wheels on the back of it, 8-inch wide chrome wheels with cheater slicks, and spoke hubcaps on the front, had a 430 cubic inch Lincoln engine shoved down between the frame rails, and had the original Ford running gear, you know, that big old heavy duty 4-speed truck transmission, big old huge 9-inch Ford rear end or whatever that thing was. But I was always bad about showing off with cars and stuff when I was young. Can't imagine where that came from. But one day I seen Scott. He was in the Junior. He had a 57 Chevy. It was a little 283 with a Power Glide transmission. You know, it had chrome reverse wheels all the way around. Psychedelic painting on the hood. You know, it was green. Pretty cool car. Scott was a pretty cool guy. But I seen him in there, and I was in my truck, and I said, "Oh, it's my opportunity. I'm going to show off. I'm going to show him what a hot rod dude I really am." You know how when you're young you like to burn rubber and smoke your tires and try to impress your friends? It's kind of like doing somersaults in front of the girls. You know, you like to try to impress somebody. Well, I was going to impress old Scott. So I lit up out of that Jitney Junior, and I wound that big old 430 up, and I dumped the clutch, and I burned rubber, and I went flying out of there. And what happens is that motor is so big that it torques like this. And it was sitting between that old 51 Ford pickup set of stock frame rails with a whole original running gear. And 51 Ford pickup had an arm that ran from the frame to the transmission, and it worked back and forth like this when you mashed the clutch, and that was like a little hinge to make that clutch work. And inside the bearing on this side was 2 little brass half bearings that fit in there. Well, when that engine torqued out and I romped that clutch, the engine torqued out so far that them 2 bearings fell out, and then my clutch arm fell off. Well, I didn't lose it. It was hanging under there, but I couldn't shift because I didn't have no more clutch pedal left. Well, I didn't want Scott to know that. I didn't want him to see me burning rubber, didn't have to get out and go searching for my little bearings and think, oh, he thought he was such a big guy, there he is, his old truck broke down. So in order to save my reputation, I drove in first gear down to the local garage, and I pulled in behind there, and I watched till Scott went by. And I drove back to the Junior, and I parked my truck, and I searched around in the parking lot out by the street till I found them 2 bearings. And then I crawled up under the truck, and I stuck them back in there, and I put my clutch arm back on. And then I drove back home, but in order to get home I had to go by Scott's house, and I didn't want him to see me because I wanted him to think that I had done cruised all the way home and I was just home living high and big, you know. So when I went by Scott's house, I pushed the clutch in so that thing wouldn't, you know, the twin pipes is kind of like when you go by, and I didn't want him to hear me. So as soon as I got near his house, I pushed in the clutch. I just coasted right by his house. And then when I got up to the top of the hill, I put the clutch back out and drove on home. He never knew about that till just a while ago. I was talking to him on the phone, and I said, you know, I got to tell you something that really happened that you probably didn't know about, and I told him that story. It's good to have old friends. You know, I've known him since I was 6, 7, 8, 9. How about that? It's amazing, isn't it? Woohoo! Doggies.